Good morning, everyone. So, today we are with the second session of Mains Answer Writing Analysis series for APSC CCE 2024. So, 24 boli moi koisu. I think in the notification it is written as 23. So, it's a little bit confusing, but we are getting the gist. We are preparing for the exam that is going to happen in the year 2024. Alright? So আগতেও যোৱা সেশনটোতো মই কৈছোঁ কি yes it is high time that we'll do our MCQs, we'll prepare, we'll revise for the prelims, but I always advise the students that prelims clear হৈ যোৱাৰ পিছত মেইনছৰলৈকে টাইমটো অলপ কম হয়. So you should always dedicate about 30 minutes to practice your answer writing. 30 minutes is going to not make a huge difference on your prelims preparation, but it's going to make a huge difference for your mains preparation. Alright? So, I'll introduce myself. I'm Ashmita Rekha Bora. I cracked APSC CCE 2019. I was ranked 9 of Assam Land and Revenue Services. So, let's begin. So, this is the question and answer sheet, which is from the institution, that is our institution, Sandpaper APSC, that we gave to our students. My original question paper to bisari napalu, so my question plus answer to a first display korisu. The topic here is modern Indian history. We have given 2 questions for 30 marks, and this 30 marks ka question will have to be completed in 24 minutes. Mane jetia 15 marker you write, that 15 marker should not take you more than 12 minutes. You understood that? 12 minutotke besi apunar 15 marker question etar homoy jabo nalage, so practice in that form. Hekarne this is 24 minutes for 30 marks. Let's begin. So the question that the institute, Sandpaper, gave to the students was, land has been a primary component of every freedom struggle before 1905. Comment. Land has been a primary component of every freedom struggle before 1905. Comment. This is the first question. And the second question was, question number 2, the reaction of the RIN was the final nail in the coffin for the British rule in India. Critically analyze. The reaction of the RIN was the final nail in the coffin for the British rule in India. Critically analyze. Alright. So now we will go to one of the students' answer. The one who wrote the best answer in this paper will just see what she wrote. So this is the answer written by one of the students from batch 1 of the mains answer writing series, and this is the best answer of this paper, so we are taking it for analysis. So let us see. Question to likhi loise, land has been a primary component of every freedom struggle 1905. Comment. So let us see what the student has written. The nature of Indian freedom struggle before 1905 was mostly based on grievances related to land. Correct. Be it the annexation of land or the land revenue policies by Britishers, land remained a crucial factor that shaped the narrative of such revolts. Excellent intro. Excellent intro. So the student, June likhi se, etu, she has very well encompassed both the factors related to land, which had primarily created fuel to the revolutions before 1905. So, তেওঁ দুইটা কথা লিখিছে, grievances related to land, be it annexation or land revenue policies. ভালকে ভাবি চাওক, back in যেতিয়া আপুনি 1800s or কোনো revolutionৰ কথা ভাবে, generally it encompassed around taxation or annexation of kingdoms. Alright? So, she has very excellently put the intro. And very crisp, very short, tatke dangor intro actually hobo na lage. Let's go into the content. So she has given a heading, land a primary component of every freedom struggle before 1905. The civil uprisings. Some of the causative factors of civil uprisings were British exploitative land revenue policies, vis-a-vis permanent settlement, Ryotwari settlement, etc. Arotaki asle Mahalwari, nilikhile hobo. She has written etc. So we understood that she knows Mahalwari. Heavy burden of tax, exploitation of farmers, rise of moneylender class, famine, etc. All of these are what? Connected factors. All of these are connected factors. So land revenue settlement, revenue besi hua karone, heavy burden of tax besi hol, exploitation hol, to money juntu amar heri hol, কি বুলি কয় শব্দটো মই ৰাইট নাও পাহৰিছোঁ, আই ৰাইট ইন দ্য কমেণ্ট ছেকশ্যন। ৰাইজ অফ মানি লেণ্ডাৰ্ছৰ অৰিজিন ষ্টাৰ্ট হ'ল, তেওঁলোকৰ পৰা বেছি ব্যাজত পইচা লয়, তাৰপিছত চৰকাৰক দিব যায়, ইফালেও দিব নোৱাৰে, সিফালেও দিব নোৱাৰে, লাষ্টত গৈ বণ্ডেড লেবাৰৰ সৃষ্টি হয়, ফেমিন এক্সেট্ৰা। Rural zamindars, polygars, peasants who lost their possession over land involved in the uprising revolt against the Britishers. Correct. So first point she has said the civil uprisings against Britishers were due to exploitative land revenue policies. Yet eta bostu we can change. The student who wrote this, the heading was not very clear. The heading is civil uprising against Britisher. The heading should not be civil uprising against Britisher. The heading should have been exploitative land revenue or heavy tax burden, new heavy tax burden, etc. Also these 2 points could have been split into 2. Jodi pointer komi ase tetehole you can split into 2. Junto amar money lender point ase, this can be a different point, and the normal Ryotwari tax exploitation etc. point can be a different point, but the heading is not very clear. Not that this heading will not work, the heading will work. Etu moi ekdom I am going into very small details so that, as I always say, help you the brownie points to pabo lage. Brownie points 1-2 markere akak patalor difference hoi jabo. So jodi he extra brownie point to pabo lage for a more clear answer, the heading should be related to the question, land to component keneke, exploitative land revenue, heavy tax burden, henukwa kiba ta intro dibo lagisile, intro nohoy heading dibo lagisile. Okay, let's go forward. The student has also given examples: polygar revolt in Midnapur, Dalbham, Paika exam. Okay, next, tribal uprising. The discontentment among the tribal population grew against Britishers due to encroachment of land, forest loss, entry of outsiders. Very good. Several tribal uprisings such as Santhal, Ho, Munda, Bhil signify the tribal people were fighting for their right of land. Excellent point. Khali a point to rako eketai problem hoise, the tribal uprising to jaga. Tribal uprising can be of multiple reasons. It can be because of multiple reasons. So why did the tribal uprising happen and how is it related to land? That should have been a headline. Okay, something of like new forest laws and entry of outsiders for the tribal population. Okay, forest laws and entry of outsiders, this could be a headline. Okay, so now let us go to the next area, discontentment among nobility. Not only the common people but the noble class were also fighting against the Britishers to claim their right on the land. The 3 Carnatic wars, 4 Anglo-Mysore wars, Anglo-Sikh, Anglo-Maratha wars were few examples that reflect the nature of revolt was solely to save their own territory, land. Okay, so the point is eketai hoise ako discontentment among nobility kiyo hoise, that could have been a better headline, but the content is nice. And if you see how the student has formulated the question, the student has done what? The student has thought and analyzed how land has affected all the classes of society, right from peasants to tribals to royalty, and she has written those points. So this is exactly how I wanted every student to think when I ask this question. When the question has been how has land been a primary component of every freedom struggle before 1905, this land has been a primary component should actually encompass the whole society together. The whole society, jiman manu ase jak beleg dhorne heri korise, beleg dhorne land matter to affect korise, all of it should have been encompassed, and the student here has actually done it very nicely. The fourth point is revolt of 1857 is one of the turning point of Indian struggle towards oppression of East India Company. One of the major reasons of 1857 revolt was British annexation policy of land, doctrine of subsidy. This is related to this. It is the same point. Annexation korisile, territory heri korisile. So hekarne revolt to hoisile. It should not have been a separate point, but likhi se wrong nohoy, but I will not give extra mark because of this point, because this point and the above point is basically the same point. Many rulers such as Rani of Jhansi, Lakshmibai, Nana Saheb, Hazrat Mahal, so she has basically written about 1857. So ye participated for the loss of land. This is basically the same as third point, but she has written it as a fourth point to increase the number of points. So okay, not wrong, but ठीक है, it's the same thing. The reason mentioned above can also be regarded as one of the major causes: lack unified ideology, blah blah blah, not required. Thus, it can be inferred that the freedom struggle prior to 1905 primarily fought for land. So she has come to the conclusion now. Many historians believe that the uprising of 1857 failed as it was backward or aggressive in nature, as it wanted to restore. However, the freedom struggle that took place had nationalistic sentiments. Okay, this is the right point to give. However, the freedom struggle that took place after 1905 had the nationalistic sentiments and also garnered support from the common masses. This ending and this intro has reflected that the student has correctly understood why the whole point is 1905. 1905 के बाद ऐसा क्या हुआ था कि the question is only asking about 1905. तो 1905 episode, our struggles were basically more holistic. They were more holistic and nationalistic in nature. Here the question is asked about 1905. So when you see a question like this, that land has been a primary component of every freedom struggle before 1905. So here we bhabibo land, freedom struggle and 1905. जे 1905 पिছত की CDM आइছিলে, NCM आइছিলে, खिलाफत movement किबा किबी, all of this had no specific relation to land. No specific relation to land. But तार आगर खिनि साওক जो tribal uprising bhil, munda ho, kiba kibi, ebur jiman revolution होइছিলে, all had a very important component that was land. So you will have to connect land to all the things that happened before 1905. And 1905 episode ki hoisile etu analyze korbo pora capacity to ami develop korbo laibo. All right, so I'll just okay, let it be done. Let's go to the institute given answer and see that additionally ami aru ki korbo pailu hetan in this circumstance. Let us see je ami institute or pora কি answer দিছিলো. This is our paper যোনটো আপুনি প্ৰথমেও দেখিলে, because I basically forgot the question paper মই ক'ত থলো. So এটো 30 marks 24 answer. Let us see how we have started. India as a geographical unit has changed multiple times over the course of history, but it has always comfortably housed several generations of tribes, religions and communities. This capacity to call the place their home has not only made the people living in the area dependent economically on the land, but also to associate their identities with the land. So the intro has actually told them कि freedom struggle and land और iman very good relation क्यों. It is not only that they economically related to land, but their identities were also related to land. So an attempt to encroach land was understood as a direct attempt to take away their autonomy and their identity. Britishers attacked the ownership of land as one of the first state of affairs, and its repercussion was seen in the form of multiple rebellions all over the country. So this looks like a story. When you look at this kind of an intro, you want to look ki yaar pisat ki ase. So you should present the story like a trailer of a movie. The trailer should be like, it should tell you what I'm going to write in the content, and it should also make the the answer checker like curious ki kya likha hai, what is there in the answer. If I'm disinterested in the intro if I feel like that, obviously my whole mood for the complete answer will not be good. So tar pisot abi content to jodi ekdam heroically bhal likhe tothapiu somewhere your intro is going to drastically affect the answer. So write the intro in such a way that always remember this thing, jun apnalokor paper checker junjon ase, junjon apnar examiner hoy, he is examining about thousands of papers. Hey, thousands of papers do not feel like ki ejon manu hor interest and non-interest to affect no koribo. It is not checked by machines, it is checked by human, and that is making all the difference. That is making the difference between a beautiful answer and a correct answer. And in mains, we want a beautiful answer. We want a beautiful answer. So when you write an intro like this, that you go forward for intro. Beautiful answer. Junto amar agor student goraki likhisile, that was also a beautiful intro. So you have to make sure that the intro is like a trailer. Your intro is a trailer to your movie. That is your answer. अगर ट्रेलर अच्छी नहीं बनेगी तो मूवी अच्छी नहीं चलेगी. So you'll have to write a good intro. All right. So let's go ahead. I'll just remove this answer to clear it. Okay. Now we have gone for the first point. Tribal rebellions. Munda rebellion, Coal rebellion were primarily fought, etc., when the Dikus foreigners attempted to take away their land to use in commercial cultivation. Snatching away of land, which was an important economic resource for the tribals, had further marginalized them, pushed them into forests or mountains. Okay, same as the point that was given by the student. Revenue systems. When the Zamindari, Rotwari and Mahalwari system of land revenue in place, the owners had to pay hefty revenue for their own land. Failure to payment of land revenue, land was taken away, blah blah blah. Pagalpanthi rebellion, Polygar rebellion, etc. So this was the same as being written by the student. Change in economic pattern of the country. As the British balance of payment had to be turned in favor of India, India had to be turned into a market of its finished goods, with India being the exporter of raw materials. Hence, they were forcing the farmer to grow cash crops, commercial crop rather than food crops. This wasn't only increasing the input cost of agriculture, but also robbed them of food security. Jhum cultivation was banned in certain areas, which led to rebellions like Ho rebellion. If you remember, Amar Agor Jungoraki student she wrote a factor called famine. So here famine jo juntu hoy, this is somewhere related to this change in economic pattern of the country. So jetia related to land related to agriculture. So agriculture can be put it here. So hey, 1857 a point utke jodi, if the student would have exemplified or elucidated the point of famine or change in agriculture, it would have been a better point. Okay. Next. Annexation of kingdom through expansionist policies. Every policy of the British was to acquire more land for a wider economic base. For that, they used policies like doctrine of lapse, subsidiary alliance. This irrational annexation of kingdoms and lands had led to mass participation of kingdoms like Satara, Jhansi, revolt of 1857, etc. Okay. So the same points. The only extra point is this change in economic pattern, which like gives a new dimension to the answer. So not only land related to agriculture. Agriculture का कथा जो दिया मिले को then agriculture कहाँ होता है? We don't do it in air ना, we do it in land. So that land का point when you put it up like this gives the extra dimension to your answer, which makes your answer a little bit better. Okay. So the end has been written like this. After 1905 ended with the partition of Bengal, which also had a component of land, but that was because land, the area of Bengal was getting divided and all. But the consecutive reforms like NCM, Khilafat were more evolved and they challenged the deeper aspects of British rule. They challenged the deeper aspect of British rule. Okay, a second. British rule with better organization and structure. Land has been a primary component of all revolts against Britishers before 1905 in one way or the other. That too because the Britishers were indeed trying to encroach the land of innocent Indians as much as they could. Okay. So this is how the first answer had to be tackled. So let's go to the next answer now. Okay. So let's go to the second question. Good goal. The reaction of Royal Indian Navy was the final nail in the coffin for the British rule in India, critically analyzed. Okay? RIN boli likhisilu. The first tested whether you know what is RIN. RIN is Royal Indian Navy. No go. Naprale to good question to a goal. So this means that you should understand what is the question. RIN mane janibo lagibo. And how is it the final nail in the coffin? Final nail in the coffin mane enekwa to kiba RIN e korisile. Juntur pisod British ruler olop ending or pine ahazen laga hoisile, right? Let us see what the student has written. The mutiny of Royal Indian Navy began in 18th February 1946. After the Second World War, there was a great expansion in the size of RIN and hold prominent significance. English kini gondogol hol. Therefore, the revolt by RIN was a massive blow to the British government. Okay, so it's a simple intro. It's okay. Mane exceptionally bhal nohoy, but it will work. Okay, so because she has given the context that RIN no context to this 18 February context to this Second World War episode hoisile context to this and it held prominent significance because its size was huge. Then the RIN mutiny kotha olop likhise. The ratings of HMIS Talwar went on to strike against the uncivilized treatment, racial discrimination, better food, abuse by superior officers, etc. that led to their arrest. How RIN mutiny became the final nail in the coffin. She has given a context to it. The revolt that started from ratings of HMIS Talwar soon spread to all the naval bases. The rebels hoisted flags that threatened the British government. Okay. They received support from common masses, gained sympathy for their cause. The students boycotted their classes, organized hartals. Yes. There were meetings, processions, stopping of railroad were barricaded. Okay. RIN also led to protest of Royal Indian Air Forces, strikes in military establishments. Okay. In the British circle, the confidence in the loyalty and reliability of RIN was shattered. The British realized that they could no longer rule India under them, as if the military forces were against them. And that holds significance important administration. This is actually the main point. इसको 5 नंबर में नहीं लिखना था. It should have been এইটো 5 নম্বৰত লিখিবলৈ নালাগিছিলে. এইটো অলপ আগলে আগবাঢ়ি যাব লাগিছিলে. তাৰ পিছত বাকিখিনি কথা লিখাব লাগিছিলে. ওকে, সো 1 2 3 4 পইণ্ট কিটা ভুল নহয়. 1 2 3 4 পইণ্ট কিটা শুদ্ধই, কিন্তু 1 2 3 4 পইণ্ট কিটা শুদ্ধ বিকজ অফ ফিফথ ৰিজন. এইটো কাটিলো কিয়? Because of fifth reason. 5 number point to a justification দিয়ে to point 1 2 3 4. So point 5 to আগলে যাব লাগিছিলে, 1 2 3 4 to পিছলে আহিব লাগিছিলে. So the further critically analyzed part to satisfy korbo karne she has gone on to write the RIN could not make much headway as it did not receive support from national political leaders like Gandhiji. M.A. Jinnah and Vallabhbhai Patel persuaded the ratings to surrender. Similar other revolts ran simultaneously. Example, police strike by postal employees, precautionary measures were taken, cabinet mission was sent. Okay, a duta point alo contradictory hole, where she has said that other revolts were also ran simultaneously, like police strike by postal employees did not receive support. Mane duta beleg kotha koa jan lagile ki they had a positive effect, it had a negative effect. Kintu kotha to ene koa, when you have been asked to write about critically analyze, you can write a couple of points ki how it might not be a final nail in the coffin, kintu jetia apni critically analyze kore lastot goi result to dibo lage. If you are choosing to critically analyze and write a couple of negative points, he negative points or pisot apuni analyze kori pale ki what is your result? Hey, result to ki yes it was a nail in the coffin, no it was not a nail in the coffin. Hetu bostu etu clear nohol. Had been a large contributing factor as another mutiny raised a fear, but raised a fear thik ase as the student has written about a couple of negative, etu likhibo nalage actually, a couple of negative. So a negative to pisot whether it was a final nail or it was not a final nail, এই বস্তুটো আমি কনক্লুশনত লিখিব লাগিছিলে. This is what when you ask people to critically analyze, you can choose not to write any negative. It is not necessary that you have to write negative. Critically analyze korar pisot jodi apunar lage je yes it is a nail in the coffin, then you give it in the conclusion. If you feel it's not a nail in the coffin, that too give it in the conclusion, but you will have to. And most of the times it is advised je juntu kotha yat likhise was final nail in the coffin, etu logot agree korai bhal. If you go on in disagreement, you will have to justify a lot. There is a 99% chance je juntu question apuna khudise hetu agreement ore question hoy. So apni critically analyze korok, then put less negative points, put larger positive points, and at the conclusion generally agree to the question. Jodi ekdom kiba You will get the tone of the question. Jeta tone question to dekhe apuni gom pabo ki maximum manu agree koribo na maximum manu disagree koribo. Jodi ekdom disagreed question hai apni question to dekhile gom pabo ki this is not a question that we have to agree with, but this is a question that we have to agree with. So agree with question bilakot positive bur besike dibo, negative bur kom ke dibo. Conclusion not write down ki whether nail or not a nail. Let us see what additional points can be written from the institute. So the institute has said the reaction of the RIN was final nail in the coffin, blah blah blah. The Royal Indian Navy were of great importance to British in India during the time of World War II. Time of mutiny broke out in 1946. The RIN had over 80 ships. When the Indians with the RIN moved out of the country, they got introduced to the concepts of freedom and equality, which made them to be in more solidarity with the Indian freedom struggle. There were several additional reasons like racism, bad food in the ships, unequal pace, and solidarity with the INA prisoners that had made 78 ships be in mutiny in 1946, led by INS Talwar. Okay, so eketai bostu olopman detail basically ase. It's also a good intro. The rebellion reflected the following things. Now the point is, the question to ki hoy, why was it a final nail in the coffin? Why was it a final nail in the coffin? So why was it a final nail in the coffin? Because it reflected the following things. The British could no longer control their own defense force. The very force which was getting used to keep Indian freedom struggle in control was supporting the struggle. The revolt had spread to several cities like Vizag, Pune, Karachi. This showed the hollowness of the Raj. Hey, 5 number point to agot likha kotha to je koisilu this. It clearly reflected how the urge to be independent and free of a foreign power has reached even the insides of the British administration. This meant the time wasn't far when the administration would collapse due to lack of support. Point kita more or less eketai. What the institute has written and what the student has written is more or less the same. But what is the difference? That the institute answer is explaining why is it a nail in the coffin. Why is it a nail? And the student answer has explained the happenings that can make it look like a nail. Like a nail. Pardon my handwriting. Iman time nahi likhi bole. So question is, apuni matter to eketai likhe. That is the thing of mains. Matter same hai ase. Matter to POV to change korbe laibo. Point of view. You will have to give it a point of view that answers the question. Okay? POV to change korbe laibo. Third point. The rebellion had gripped the public support where the masses of Bombay had brought the whole city to standstill. The roads were broken, public transportation disrupted, naval forces had even captured arms and ammunition, which could easily turn everything into an armed rebellion. Correct? The rebellion inflicted immense fear in the heart of the British Raj as their whole support system was shaken with the revolt of RIM. And consequently, in 1946, cabin mission was brought to an appease the boiling fire of freedom struggle. Even if it took a lot of back and forth between Indian freedom struggle, critically analyze part 2A2. Okay, between Indian freedom struggle and British Raj to have a peaceful transfer of power from after the mutiny, the date of independence, and RM mutiny can be indeed called the final nail in the coffin. Okay, so institute has declared that it thinks that it was indeed the final nail in the coffin. So when you talk about critically analyze, apuni duta eta negative point fleetingly subo pare, then you will have to declare whether you agree with the statement or don't agree with the statement. All right. So this was it for for this part. I'll just hang on. I'll wait for some time, like couple of seconds, so that you can take a screenshot. I hope you can take a screenshot. I'll just musi ekini. You can take a better view of it. Okay, hang on a second. Yeah, take a screenshot. Alright. So I hope you are practicing your questions. Egita question apne practice koribo pare, tabsot institute answer logot match koribo pare. Match kori lobo institute answer logot. Okay. Aru amar mains answer writing series soli ase. We have about 5 spots left. Amar prelims to over 100 students hoi gol, so prelims to we have closed down our prelims registration. We have no more slot for the prelims MCQ test series. Kintu mains or batch 2 to karne about 5 slot ase. So we have you can still mail us and sandpaperacademy@gmail.com to have a slot in it. Aru, I will always I'll reiterate what I have said in the last session. Je copy paste answer is going to garbage bin. Copy paste answer is going to garbage bin. Mukhosto koribole chesta nokoribo. Be original, be unique. Be original, be unique. And also mains requires a beautifully correct answer. Also mains requires a beautifully correct answer. Correct answer, not a just correct answer. So keep practicing, you will get there. All the best and thank you. Also like, share and subscribe to Sandpaper Academy for Civil Services.